the need to sensitize people on the need to test before treatment and to sleep under long-lasting insecticide-treated nets is key to the fight against malaria in Ghana. And we have two people in studio to talk about this particular issue and how they have decided to volunteer to ensure that at least there is a reduction in the recorded cases of malaria in the country. And we have them in studio. Let me quickly introduce them. We'll go into the interview. We've been joined by Mark Amoa. He's community health volunteer for Mankesim, and then also Hassan Barak. He is a project coordinator for ISRAD in the Upper West region. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
And thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
To start with, I mean, congratulations in the efforts you've put in to at least reduce recorded cases of malaria. But how has it been for you? You know, let me start with you.
It hasn't been easy, but then I think the people are being very cooperative, and they are listening, and they are changing their behaviors as well. So this is the reason why you've been seeing the increase in sorry, let me say the reduction in the malaria cases.
But what would you say is your biggest challenge when you are reaching out to the people? What is the biggest difficulty you face in doing your job?
Okay, as a volunteer, when we go out there to house-to-house sensitization to educate people, to give them the education and how they have to be focused on whatever that they will do so that they won't get the disease of malaria, and at the same time they have to sleep on a bed net and all this. You won't find it easy. You won't find it easy. When you educate them and people, you've been telling them they have to sleep on a bed net, they have to go to hospital when they are not feeling fine or they are having any signs and symptoms of malaria, they won't do so.
It's difficult to convince them.
Yeah.
Is it similar with regard to where you are?
It's everywhere. But then another issue has to do with the self-medication. You know, people going into the chemical shops to buy the drugs. We expect the chemical sellers to educate them. And once the chemical seller knows what he or she is treating, then it makes it very easy for the person. But then people just walk into the chemicals, into these chemical shops, and then demand for.
Then they just take, self-medication.
Self-medication, and some of these chemical sellers, because they also want the money, they just sell it to them. But then what we did from the start is we took some of these chemical sellers through a training to educate them on the need for them to test before treating. So when someone comes into the shop, for instance, to buy a drug, it's very important they find out what the person is going to use that drug for. And knowing this, when you are treating a disease like malaria, it becomes so easy. For you.
Is it easy to treat malaria? I mean, I come to any of the chemical shops, I am feeling very feverish, or I'm exhibiting signs of, malaria as we know it. I'm feeling feverish, I'm having headache, and when I come and you say I should test, how long does it take to test? Is it something I can just go in 5 minutes before then you give me medication?
It takes 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yes, to get the results.
And so do you train or do you alert the people as to what they should look out for when they go to the pharmacy shops, for instance?
Yeah.
What do you tell them?
We tell them that we do have a malaria RDT in Ghana for introducing the health system. So for the diagnosis test of malaria RDT, when you go to the pharmacist or the chemical seller, you need to ask the person does he or she have the malaria RDT, which is a rapid diagnostic test. When the person does so or speaks here that I have, you need to consult him
to test before.
To test him before.
But this will be difficult because I really need medication fast. But I think that is the best option available.
One thing about malaria is the early treatment. Once you begin to have the signs, like to have the symptoms of malaria. We ask for this test because malaria and other diseases seem to have similar symptoms altogether. So if you go into a chemical seller's shop to buy a drug without really knowing what you're treating, it is also another problem because you go to complicate what the
problem is. And finally, some communities, we are told, when they are giving the bed nets, use it for fishing. And some use it to dry stuff.
Yeah.
Is it true?
Yeah.
Are these true issues?
Yeah. We face this kind of problems when we go to the field. Because you see someone, about 10 nets, it has used it for a fence, for plantain, pepper, garden eggs and others.
They are using the nets to prevent mosquitoes from biting the crops, instead of using it to protect themselves. Yeah. Okay, but is education going on in that regard to get people to change their mindsets?
Yes. For instance, in one of the communities where I went to, we found out that they had used the mosquito net for a pole, like a football pole. And what we did was to report it to the chief. So the chief made it a point that those things had to be stopped. So now what they do is that when they find out that you're
using something like that,
they take you on. They have a way of
dealing with you. Okay. All right. I would have to leave it here, but congratulations, and I'm sure Mother Ghana will be proud of you for volunteering to ensure that people are educated on malaria outbreak. Let's say a big thank you to Mark Amwa. He is community health volunteer at Mankasim, and then also Hassan Barak. He's project coordinator for ISRAD in the Upper West region. They are volunteers and ensuring that people do not get malaria, or the rapidity of malaria spreading is also dropping. Thank you very much on that.